What's up, guys? Laura of Mafka, aka Rogan Eyes Ryan, back at you with another video, and I want to talk about why continuous rejection can damage the psyche part too. So, as you guys know, the feeling of rejection itself it can be a very demeaning experience for a person to experience over and over and over again. And so many people do not understand this because they're very just deluded and not in reality. I mean, how can you how can you not expect men to want to continue to pursue things like having intimacy, having love in their life, and doing all they can when they're constantly being told that they're not good enough. They're being told by the PUA coaches, oh, go up to the 30th or 40th or 50th girl for the last time of the day and see if it works. And it just gets to the point to where men just get tired and they shut off emotionally. And when you look at the effects of rejection, it can really fill you with malice and doom and gloom. I mean, are you really over what's happened to you? I mean, do you really never get any thoughts of the sadness, the loneliness it caused when people just let you know that you weren't good enough for them? The women told you that you were inadequate. They basically just denied you, just basically it's just a key to happiness over and over again, meaning you need that relationship experience to actually feel some type of joy. Now, am I saying that that's the end all be all of life? Of course not. No, common sense. But if you go your whole life without ever experience feelings of romance from another person, having someone admire you, having someone send you gifts, actually want to be around you, give their time to you, be committed to you, and give themselves to you. I mean, you're just gonna feel like a guy who's just not worth anything, and it's a normal feeling to have. Even when you look in things like psychology, it tells you how just sexual rejection can just really damage a man's psyche. I mean, why do you think in the marriages, right? In some of these dead bedrooms, the husband is like, "Oh, you want to just do something tonight?" And the wife usually tells them no. And it just goes from there. And the guy, from then on, his self-esteem starts to wane because this is supposed to be the love of his life, always rejecting him. No one's saying that they have to just be like doing it just 24/7, just like being animals at it, right? I mean, even though that would be favorable for both parties. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing you have to realize as men, right? All of us have to realize, us guys, right? The girl isn't really seeing you attractive like that. And whenever you question that a woman is attracted to you, that woman doesn't like you. Like if she's not always trying to get with you and if she's not communicating with you, or even if you're with guys that are married or something like that, right? Because that's a horror show nowadays in the United States, right? If they're not communicating like, "Hey, I'm tired today, and just things were bad today, in a horrible mood," and it's different if it happens like, let's say like once or just heck even twice. I mean, just being nice, but If it's happening continuously, man, it's time to throw in the bag and just go somewhere else because you're obviously not desirable to her. That affection that you thought was there still is it's now gone. And this can happen even when you're not married. If you do somehow get a girl interested in you, because nowadays most guys don't even get to stage one. They don't even get to first base with a girl, with the girl expressing interest in them, wanting to be with them. They don't even get that far. The most that a guy will get, especially with online dating apps like Tinder or Instagram, is a one word reply like hi, and sometimes the girl will say a few things, and then after that, they just leave them on red and then it's bye. Yeah, the dating market is just a very horrendous place for men right now, and it's not getting any better. I mean, the fact that you have people online still preaching about things like games just shows you how ignorant and just brain dead our society of people are. How can you be a grown man over 20 years old still preaching that games works? Like you like if you're still preaching that games work, either one, you're either desensitized and you've become a zombie to just all the rejections and you're just numb to it and don't realize the reality before you. And number two, you have to be doing a grift. You have to be wanting to get other men to suffer so you can feed off that and get a finance from it and laugh at it. And that is what the plight of what most young men are going through nowadays. I mean, when is the last time you actually saw yourself happy in the mirror? Like, when's the last time you actually looked at yourself and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm happy with myself today. I feel like I can actually take on the world. I feel like and think as well that I can actually be successful in life. I can actually have a good girlfriend, a loving relationship, a family someday." Because when you look at it that deeply, you realize how many men are in this world walking right now and breathing who are not happy. There are so many just unhappy men right now, and then it's not even funny. Most men, their drive for getting a woman in their life, their sex drive, their vigor, what makes them feel just strengthened, just courage is just being just drained out of them by this just pulsating just society that is just repulsed by men just on a daily basis. The sad part is that you have young men who are about to turn 16, going on to 18, and then from 18 to 30, then and there. That's when the brutal reality starts to hit even more. The years of loneliness takes a toll on the mind. And we have so many self-help preaching these spiritual fake gurus who have no ounce or any type of clarity on what life is really about, It's preaching things like self-love, which are utterly useless if it doesn't add up to the reality in front of you. If you aren't seeing signs that you're a man that's wanted, if you're not seeing the end result that you want, if you're not having women come up to you and you're feeling the romance, love from them, and they're trying to be with you, then self love is utterly useless to you. I mean, should you just say that you're just nothing and just end it? No. That's not what I'm saying, but there should be a point to where you need to become more realistic and look at the situation and say, you know what? I know my place in the dating market. I'm not really being checked out like that. People aren't approaching me, you know, and just call it at that and just go on about your life. I mean, you're going to be sad and unhappy either way, but you have to find some way to cope with it. And that's really what all this is. Video games, working, self improvement, just doing these videos. Heck, all of this is just one big cope. Because if things were good right now, men wouldn't even be on channels like this. I wouldn't even be speaking about this right now if it wasn't such a huge issue. You wouldn't have tons and tons of black pill channels that are in the up and coming making that YouTube tried to censor but failed with some, right? That are still talking about this gloom reality that is before men right now. You know, I made a promise, once to myself that I would never ever believe in myself because of all the things that have just transpired with dating in the United States, right? I always tell myself that I will never believe in myself again from the amount of failures that I've had. And this is just one of the symptoms of having a damaged psyche. Like these things are very psychological and spiritual that really infects you and renders you just into just a void state. Things like this cannot be helped when you don't have a healthy socially society, when you don't have a family that's behind you, telling you the truth about reality. When you don't have, your so-called friends that are really just snakes in disguise, you know, that are just only there to use you. And it doesn't help when you have a whole generation of women who are just not looking for guys like that. They're just focusing on their careers. They aren't into men like that. So when we talk about a man having a damaged psyche, we really have to look at the ramifications and the schematics behind it. I mean, number one, when you have a highly westernized society. Number two, when you have a family structure that is very dysfunctional, even in two-parent households, that doesn't mean that a family structure is fully functional, because you have to remember the child is still observing the parents' behavior patterns and habits, and the mothers and fathers' behavior and patterns aren't always healthy that the child picks up and observes. Number three, the environment. The environment that you're in is going to play a big role in the things you can do and what you cannot do at the moment. Your surroundings are a big role in it, because if you can't really interact with your environment in a healthier way, don't even think about trying to socialize. Number four, you have the peer groups. When you have other peers that are basically just is damaged in their psyche and just messed up, you can't help but pick up some of that and become traumatized, especially if we're talking about a man liking a woman who's already set in her ways and decided that she's not going to trust anyone because she has just as many issues as the male has, right? And then number five, the media influence. The media influence is very toxic and rapid with his approach on wanting men to just not be men anymore and express themselves, right? And this is what you get when you have a society with all these five things I mentioned. You get a society that is very dysfunctional and brings nothing but just psychological damage to the youth. And all I can say is I'm going to continue to do videos on this topic. I'll be making a part 3 soon on this, and to really expound and end the note on it, I mean, the only thing you can really do is just stay to yourself and battle your own demons, because that's what we're doing every day of our life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything, right? We're battling our own demons that have been created for us for the life that's been given to us, not only by our family and society. So it's all about that mental just fortitude and trying to push through. But if you don't have the experiences or the willpower to push through that damaged psyche, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal at that. And you can't really blame men for breaking that in any day, because they don't have anyone near their side. But to end the video on this note, I hope you guys got something out of this, and really can go about making some changes to your life and trying to stay far from the toxic society as much as you can. But I hope you guys take care. And like I always tell you guys, stay the heck away from modern women. Thank you.